Hi everyone, another Monday and FFG are still keeping me busy. They've got a new article out looking at the X-Wing half of the Heroes of the Resistance. So I'm going to go through it now. I've got a little bit of a different format, just hopefully it'll help with people watching it on the cell phone or other mobile devices. So just going to go one card at a time. But the big one that they really push in the article is the new Poe Dameron in his nice black X-Wing, and he is pilot skill 9 now for 33 points. So the talk with Tyne obviously is the +1 pilot skill worth an increase of +2 points, the opportunity cost of not having to sacrifice your elite pilot talent, and admittedly it's a hard sell within the current lists that are being made because they're all quite tight on points, but I feel like there's still room for him in the sense that people play him as like a points fortress. Throw in 2 more points onto that, even if you stick with VI. The idea is to not give up points, it lets you not give up more points. So if you're going to go for that playstyle, I think it can still be worth it. And also it does open up all of the fun, exciting builds that we talked about when Poe and his ability was first revealed. I remember talking about it on Nova Squadron Radio, how much of a shame it was that it wasn't PS9, because I felt like I couldn't really put push on him and get the full advantage. Now you can do the push BB-8 build, that's so much fun to fly. Getting those 3 actions a turn and not being stressed it's just good fun. I feel like it's going to be a hard sell to make that the competitive build, but there's a lot of scope in there to spend a lot of points on Poe now. More than he already was. I think 37 points for standard Poe, but it'll still let you eke out those victories at time in the same way that a Fortress Poe normally does. Yeah, then we have Nien Nunb finally getting a pilot card. He is pilot skill 7 at 29 points. He has the pilot ability, when you receive a stress token, if there is an enemy ship inside your firing arc at range 1, you may discard that stress token. So it's a really fun ship to fly actually. Getting him around, if you can catch people, get them at range 1. So push Nien Nunb is really strong. Again, they cover it in the article. Getting to clear that stress, having those double actions, we've seen how good it is on people like Poe when he can do it on the BB-8 Poe. So being able to just remove your stress is nice. We do talk about using stay on target with him, and also R3A2, the stress bot. It's good. I feel like stay on target, if you're confident that you can sacrifice basically having either PS9 or push on him. With the emergence of slicer tools, maybe you might not want to push on him, but getting to adjust so that you're getting the enemy in arcs pretty good. But then as we come on to some of the other upgrades, I don't feel like it's necessarily needed that you have to trigger his ability, but it is good fun. But I'm not sure how competitive Niem's going to be in the end, just because as we get to other upgrade cards, to make him strong, you've got to spend more points, and then I think there's other pilots who sit in this niche better. And we have Tom and Snap Wexley. He is pilot skill 6 at 28 points, and I actually like this ability more than Niem's. I wasn't sure when I was thinking about them, but the more thought I put into it, the more I like this guy and his repositioning. So after you execute a 2, 3 or 4 speed maneuver, if you are not touching a ship, you may perform a free boost action. So it's pretty simple, pretty clean. It does get better as we get onto the upgrade cards. If you've read the article, you'll know where we're going. They do have a really nice graphic of some of the positions you can take up. I'll probably do a Should I Fly It with Snap anyway, just because he looks really good for a positioning. I get to play around on Vassal, which I've not done for a while. But pilot skill 6 at 28 points, still has the EPT. I think again is going to be a little bit better than red aces. Obviously, completely different style of play. I'm not trying to compare them that way, but more in the level of competitiveness that they sit in. I feel like you can get a lot of value out of him if you're outflying jump masters, swarms, things like that. But once you start going up against real aces, his extra maneuverability, if you're a good player and can outfly your opponent, it might give you an edge. But we'll see. I'm not 100% until I get him on the table or get in a squad, because I can, in isolation, it seems really strong, especially when we cover some of the upgrades that I'll talk about and come back to Snap specifically. And then Jess Pava, she's power skill 3 for 25 points. When attacking or defending, you may re-roll one of your dice for each of a friendly ship at range 1. So she's good to drop into a Biggs Walks Anything type list. If you go back to Biggs Walks the Dogs, for example, if you could fit her in alongside Biggs and the B-Wings, so you'd have to lose some of the upgrades from the B-Wings to make it viable. She'd be re-rolling all 3 attack die, and then Biggs drawing the fire, so it's not too bad. There's some combos, but it's if that playstyle's ever going to come back. When we get onto the some of the astromechs and things you can do to try and keep Biggs alive, making your enemy re-roll the attack dice, stuff like that. But yeah, she's pretty strong, but a playstyle for her might not necessarily be that modern. Thinking about it, I have seen, obviously, the emergence of Biggs escorting some higher power skill aces. I don't think that she could drop into that role, because if it's just her and Biggs, you're probably not getting enough value from either one's ability to make it worthwhile. But she can work, just need to actually make sure you're putting that play style on the table. Then we get on to some of the actual upgrade cards. So the one the video is named after, a black one. Still having breakfast, cup of tea. Sorry guys, you shouldn't put articles up so early. After you perform a boost or a barrel roll action, you may remove one enemy target lock from a friendly ship at range 1. You cannot equip this card if your power skill is 6 or lower. So it's basically designed for Poe, evidently. Niam can take it. It's 1 point. I would have liked it to be 0 because I want to see Poe flying it, and I feel like there's going to be times where people aren't going to spend the points. But there you go. I would have liked it to have been 0. After you perform a boost or barrel roll, so barrel rolls you're going to get from BB-8 or vectored thrusters, and then you get to remove a target lock, and it's not just from you, because you are at range 1 of yourself, but you can rip it off other people as well. It's pretty frustrating. Like expert handling, countermeasures have been doing it for a while. Dengar is really popular with countermeasures at the moment, and just when you're trying to bank on that, and it does add in that really good play style, the problem you're going to have is obviously it doesn't stop Deadeye. Anything that is going to do the acquiring target locks in the activation phase, so in the attack phase through an Aaron Kraken, stuff like that, it doesn't help you there. But most time you're protected from target locks by your higher pilot skill anyway, but it's really strong against the fire control system, so it actually hurts Brobots a lot. Brobots will hate Black One because they just lose so much of her economy. So then we have Snapshot, that's it, EPT for 2 points, and can be a little bit of confusion with this card because we've not seen an EPT with this kind of layout before. So it's similar, well in fact it is effectively a secondary weapon. It's just obviously it falls in the EPT slot and isn't discarded, anything like that, but it functions basically the same. It's got the attack heading as well as, yeah, so just here, So it's a 2 dice attack at range 1. There's no other symbols on it, so it means it's just a 2 dice secondary weapon attack at range 1. So we'll go into a card. After an enemy ship executes a maneuver, you may perform an attack against you may perform this attack against that ship, and that's where the 2 and 1 comes in. So after it executes in a maneuver, again that is laid out in the rules reference guide, so happy that I looked at it today. That is, you put the template down, move it from one end of the template to the other. So it is where it finishes the maneuver. If it's at range 1 of you and in your primary firing arc, because you'll notice that it's a secondary weapon attack. Secondary weapons in the rules reference guide have to use your primary arc unless stated otherwise. And you perform this attack, which is the attack heading. Attack 1 ship. You cannot modify your attack dice and cannot attack again this phase. So you can't modify your attack dice. If you've already got a target lock established, if you've already moved and got your focus token, nothing changes these dice for you. I believe Palpatine would still override this, because again it's the same as the Red Ace, the Omega Leader thing that U refers to as ship. So Palpatine, if you have this on Vader, Palpatine can still modify the attack die, but that's getting way into corner cases. And then you can't attack again this phase. So if you've got Gunner, you can re-roll a second attack. If another ship lands in range 1 of you, you can't do it. But after the activation phase and you move on to a combat phase, you can then attack normally. I think that covers most of it. It's a pretty interesting layout to a card and everything. But in summary, if they finish a move in front of you before they do move on to a perform action step, you get to take a snapshot at them. It is a 2 dice attack. It doesn't benefit from range because it's a secondary functions as a secondary weapon attack, and it has to be range 1 primary arc of 2 points. So might be some gimmicks, like I said. Palpatine, I believe, should trump the wording on this card because that's how it works with Omega Leader. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sold on it, to be honest, as being a giant winner, but it's fine. It's nice. It's interesting, if nothing else. Then the one that I do really like the look of, but it's a technology slot. So we're going to look at 2 techs, finally starting to buff it and build it out a little bit more. So stress tokens do not prevent you from performing boost or barrel roll actions unless you have 3 or more stress tokens for 1 point. So it really adds into your maneuverability if you're going for that play style. Coming back to, just give me a sec, so if we take it back to Snap, so he can now do his Talon roll, and with prime thrusters for a point, it gets to do his free boost. People like, who else is going to like this? Obviously, some of the FOs where you really need positioning if you want to go for blocking, stuff like that, can be interesting because you can do your signals and barrel roll. It's just good for that maneuverability type of play style. It is probably going to save you from getting shot more than you'd think, just with the signals, loop and barrel roll. And also it's useful if you're playing against the emerging stress meta that's coming back out, where people are stressing you in the activation, in the combat phase and stuff like that, where if you gain stress when you weren't expecting it, you can still reposition basically. So then we have the pattern analyzer. This one's really interesting. It's pretty much like the primed thrusters, but lets you do any action effectively. But I actually went through a rules reference guide just to make sure I was getting it all correct, and then so there are 3 steps in the activation phase. It is reveal dial, performing move, where check power stress is in that section, and then perform action is step 3. So it will actually move the check power stress to the very end of the activation phase for that particular ship. So check power stress is that if the maneuver was red, you assign a stress token to it. If the maneuver was green, you remove a stress token from it. So if you're already stressed and do a green move, you do not want to use your pattern analyzer, because that means you'll miss your action and then remove your stress. It defeats the object of it. It doesn't let you ignore the fact that you have stress. It's basically a one-shot thing. You can do your red maneuver, do an action, and then clear your stress in the next turn. It doesn't let you be like Tycho. It's slightly different. It doesn't let you ignore the fact that you have stress. Just making sure that's clear. Probably there's always people who ask questions on the FAQs, and I don't know if this one will come up, but hopefully that puts it to bed a little bit. So 2 points, and I really wish it was a modification just for some of the ships that want to use it, but Celevi. Big winners, again, Snap can do really well with it, getting free actions. Probably not people with push, because you don't want to be double stressing yourself unless you've got some form of extra stress removal in your list that you've got a plan. I like it on who was it? Yeah, so I like it on Snap. I like it on some of the FOs again, just for the ability to do those signals, but it is 2 points, so you have to have a very specific build or reason in mind why you want to do this. It's not just going to be throw it on. It's still 2 points, and when we're talking about the ships that have technology slots at the moment, it's getting difficult. One that will be interesting will be the quad jumper when that comes out, because I believe that one had the tech slot on there. So see what the quad jumper can do with the scum side of it, because the black market slicer tools do a red move and then do your action and then get your stress. So it could be interesting. Then the astromech. So I'm going to go through it. M9G8. When a ship you have locked is attacking, you may choose one attack die. The attacker must re-roll that die. You can acquire target locks on other friendly ships. So I'll talk about the ability first. The ability to basically control your attacks in a joust, stuff like that. Quasi Omega Leader style, you lock them and then you can force them to re-roll an attack die if they get the hit. So that'll be in the defender modifies attack die step. It's pretty good. It can help boost things. Like you could, for example, if someone's shooting, again we'll talk about the Jess one because it's the one that we mentioned in the article. You can, if you're flying next to Biggs, you can either lock the ship that's going to attack Biggs and make him re-roll your attack die, or you can lock onto Biggs and make him re-roll an attack die. It should, I'm not sure if it'll get around Omega Leader. I'm not interested in going down that rabbit hole at the moment. It's far too early for me. I've looked at a rules reference guide once today. I'm not doing it again. But re-rolling attack dice is always good. 3 points, man. 3 points. I feel like they just don't know how to price astromech sometimes. Targeting astromech being 2 points ruins it. It's so much potential. Same for this card. So much potential, and nah, don't see it. It's unique. It's not like you can make some gimmick out of it. I don't know, man. There's probably something with the arc that's pretty good, but I'm just not thinking of exactly right now. Is it Nora who does good stuff with target locks? But I don't know, guys. It's pretty frustrating sometimes that it just could work. There we go. I suppose if you go weapons engineer and this guy in an Arc 170, it's broken, man. You're paying all those points to be able to get 2 different people to re-roll an attack die. Sad times. I was so excited going through, and then this one ruined it. So there you go. I'm not saying it's a bad ability, not saying it's a bad card, but again, you really need to have a specific reason to put it in your list. 3 points is a pretty big chunk to throw in an astromech, especially given the platforms that can normally take it. But hopefully the Arc and Weapons Engineer might do something and get those synergies working. But we'll see. And yeah, that's everything I have. I think the big winners are Niam Num is going to be good fun. Snap with either prime thrusters. Snap and prime thrusters will be good fun. I mean, just even if you just take that, nothing else. Like you would throw on an R1 astromech. So an R2 astromech, sorry, to get all those extra greens to clear the stress afterwards. And yeah, just bounce around. I mean, you could even go. Would you go integrated actually? Yeah, but you could put vectored thrusters on him as well. That's just going to be fun, really good fun. And then what else do we have? Yeah, so if you do vectored thrusters and the pattern analyzer, he then becomes 32 points. 32 points, but you know, it'd be awesome. Bounce around, you get your free action, and then you get to barrel roll as well. And I think the one they show on the article, which I'll link the article at the bottom, is that you can pretty much end where you started facing the other way. I think you're at half a base length off if my head X-wing maneuvers are correct. But those are the ones I'm looking forward to doing the most. Black One, I think it's a strong title. I think that's probably going to be the sleeper card from this set that we've talked about. And ignoring the astromech, I think Snapshot is a bit of a miss as well. I'm just not sure that it's going to do enough to justify not taking one of the other EPTs. There you go, that's my thoughts on this part of the Heroes of Resistance. Thanks for watching, and leave your comments.